Thank you, Ryan. Continue just a little. Take a deep breath in. Feel what you feel. Know what you know. Sense what you sense. See what you see and hear what you hear. Can you sense God? Can you feel God? Can you see God? Take a deep breath in. Can you smell the divine? For God is surely here, right where you are. God and God alone. And so it is. Thank you, Danny. Thank you, Ryan. That's a precious feeling for me. I can really take my seat. That's it. Really. I really want to just take my seat. I'm waiting for an affirmative. Over the past few weeks, we've been exploring ways in which our words and our thoughts help to shape and reshape not only our life and life experiences, but how our words and our thoughts shape and reshape our world. We launched a series a few weeks ago, entitled The Power to Change the World. We've been looking at the potential of the soul. Within each and every soul, the potential to do something great, to make a positive impact, not only on our lives individually, but on the life of those around us and our world. Today we'll continue with part 5 of the series. Whether this is the last part of it or not, I don't know. But show up next week and I'm sure you'll find out. So we continue as we celebrate today and commemorate Memorial Day weekend, a time in which we honor the servicemen and any servicemen and servicewomen here, raise your hand so we can celebrate you. Come on. That we celebrate you and commemorate you for your sacrifices that you made on behalf of our country's defense and those who are presently protecting and defending our liberties. As we hold this in mind, we continue the series with changing the world through using the power of now. The power of now. Let's affirm now 3 times and feel what you feel, sense what you sense as you affirm it. At the 3 depths of your being, the 3 layers of being, together. Now. 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 Once again, say it like you want it now. 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 You got it. A few years ago, Eckhart Tolle released a book that became a bestseller after receiving the endorsement of our dear friend and sister Oprah Winfrey. His book entitled The Power of Now, A Guide to Spiritual Enlightenment. It was his intention that this book would play its part in the transformation of human consciousness by acting as a catalyst for those who are ready for a radical, say radical. I mean, come on, get radical with your radicalness. A radical. He says that this is for those who are ready for a radical inner transformation to which he called enlightenment. He says those who are really ready for this kind of radical is out of the box. I mean, it's off the chart, off the chain. You can't measure it. It's too big. It's too extreme, extraordinary. He says those who are really ready for this kind of transformation, this level of enlightenment, there are 2 things that we're called to do in order to really optimize on the power of now. And he says if you really want to live life to the fullest now, you got to do these 2 things. The first thing, transform your mode of consciousness. The second thing, he says, that we have to be free, become free from the egoic mind. And in Unity, we understand that the ego is an acronym for easing God out of the scenario, easing God out of the equation. He says we must become free of the mind that feels that it knows everything. It knows it all because it's been around a long time. Or it's read all of the books. It's been to every seminar, every class, attended every service, been to every guru avatar, listened to every tape, CD, DVD, VHS. But the mind that feels that it knows it all because of the level of intellect. He says you must free yourself of that mind. And allow what the Apostle Paul says, allow the mind of God, the mind of Christ to take root and put on that mind. And he says when you do that, you can truly, and you ultimately will benefit from the power that is always in the now. He says the key to becoming free of the egoic mind is to become deeply conscious of this present moment that we call now. He says it in these words. As soon as you honor the present moment, all unhappiness and struggle dissolve, and life begins to flow with joy and ease. When you act out the present moment awareness, he says, whatever you do becomes imbued with the sense of quality, care, and love, even the most simple action, the power of now. Many of you might recall a month or so ago, Reverend Kevin Ross from Unity of Sacramento was here. And he made the claim that we're living in an age of mass distraction. That the mass distraction prevents us from experiencing the gifts, the wonderful gift in the present moment that we call now. In the words of the Buddhist author and scholar B. Alan Wallace, he says, we're living in a world that contributes in a major way to mental fragmentation, disintegration, distraction, and decoherence. Yet one of life's sharpest paradoxes is that our brightest future, friends, let's say it, my brightest future. Come on. Touch your shoulder or move your hand so your subconscious mind knows you're talking about you. My brightest future hinges on my ability to pay attention to the present moment. For life unfolds and is always unfolding in the now. You know, many people have a tendency of deferring the now to a better moment, a better time, to a better day. I won't do it now, and I'll wait for a better day. I won't take that vacation now. It's not time. There's a better day coming. I will take some time for R&R another day. This is not the day. Now is not the time. No, it's not the day to clean up the closet, clean out the cupboard, clean out the car, clean out your bag, your purse, clean out your whatever. It's another day. Today is not the day. It's another day. I'll wait for a better day. This is not the day to call family. No, I don't need to be around them today. I'll wait for a better day. And then there are those who defer to that, long-awaited day that many people have been waiting on a lifetime. They call it someday. Someday I'll get to it. No, I won't do it now. I'll do it someday. I will take that. I'll call family someday. Someday I will start that book that I've always wanted to do. Someday I'll start writing that play or that composing the music. Someday I'll start the business. Someday I'll go back to school. Someday I will make it. Someday I'll do it, but not today. And friends, that someday always rob us of the gifts that life and that God offers us today. In his book, Live Our Best Life Now, Pastor Joel Osteen, America's pastor. That's the Pastor Jack Bomar. Joel Osteen encourages his readers to discard the someday mentality and to embrace the now consciousness. He says, let go of the someday mentality. Let go of the someday, a better day mentality, and embrace the now consciousness, a right now mentality. For life is happening now. The good is, if there is going to be good anywhere in the universe, at any time in existence, that good is happening right here, right now, in this moment. For God is always now. Now is the time. We hear these words from 2 Corinthians chapter 6. It says, I tell you, now is the time of God's favor. Now is the day of salvation. Now is the day. And for the day of salvation is the moment The moment when we accept the good that is already. That's your day of salvation. The moment you can accept the goodness of God, the goodness of life, the goodness of the universe, the moment the mind can accept it, you've been saved. So if anybody ever asks you, have you been saved? Your answer should be, I'm working on it if you haven't already. I'm accepting the good in my mind. I'm accepting the blessings. I'm accepting the promise in my mind and heart. And once I get it in the mind, friends, you know, that's the first creation. You don't have to worry about it showing up outside of you. You get it on the inside. By God, it will follow you. It will be on your trails like grace and mercy, looking for you, finding a way to show up and show out in your life. This moment, this eternal noun, in the words of the great mystic Paul Tillich, brings about a sense of urgency that warrants our respect and full attention. Now, I haven't shared this at the other services, but this sense of urgency was, many of you might recall, in May of 2008, after winning the Democratic primary in South Carolina. The presidential candidate, Barack Obama, was explaining to the crowd why he was running for president, and he said, I'm running because of what Dr. King called the fierce urgency of now. I'm running because I do believe there's such a thing as being too late, and that hour is almost here. He referred to Dr. King's fierce urgency of now, and I just want to share this with you. It says, in the months before he was assassinated, you know, you can't just stop with that. You got to get to the root of the thing. Dr. King published a book with a provocative title, Where Do We Go From Here? Chaos or Community? And at the very end of the book, he quotes from the famous sermon that he preached 1 year before he was assassinated, April 4th, 1967. He used the phrase, the fierce urgency of now, while speaking on a message beyond Vietnam at the Riverside Church in New York City. And I've been privileged to go there and be there, to attend services there. And in it, he says, we are now faced with the fact, my friends, that tomorrow is today. We are confronted with the fierce urgency of now in this unfolding conundrum of life and history. There is such a thing as being too late and missing the moment. Procrastination is still the thief of time. Life often leaves us standing bare and naked, dejected with the lost opportunity. We may cry out desperately for time to pause in her passage, but time is adamant to every plea and rushes on. Over the bleached bones and jumbled residues of numerous civilizations are written the pathetic words, too late, you missed the moment. There is an invisible book of life that faithfully records our vigilance and our neglect. Friends, the power of now calls us to be vigilant. How many of you have been waiting on some element of good to finally find its way, be honest, to you in your life? You've been waiting for some element of God to finally reach you. Some of you might have been praying, you've been waiting for it for a year, 2 years. Anybody longer than 2 years? Be honest. Longer than 2. Thank you for your honesty. 5 years, 10 years, 20, 25 years. I have news for you today. That the good that you are waiting for is waiting on you. For in the beginning, when God says, let there be, everything came into existence. And that means that the good that you have put in the future, all you got to do is reel that thing into the present moment, for it's already yours. There is no spot, as Nanak says, there is no spot where God is not. And if there's no spot where God is not, there's no spot where your good is not. Your good is in this very moment. It's right where you are. And the only thing that we have to do is expand the mind to receive and to experience it, to even believe it. The power, the purpose, and potential of now. You can still believe the potential of now. It's still here. There's the potential of it, whether you see it or not. That can be a shift in your finances. It's the potential. The potential is here. Shift in the body and the relationships. The potential is in the now moment, whether we get it or not, but it's up to us to get it. So I offer you 3 things to help us embrace and to move and to stand fully, firmly, flat-footed in the power of now. So that you can get out of the future. You can let go of the 2 thieves. You know the 2 thieves. The thief of the past that's always drawing you back into what used to be, how it used to happen. I was having the conversation. This couple, every time they got in a heated conversation, one spouse would go all the way back. I mean, all the way back to the beginning of time. We'll pull up the kitchen sink, the bathtub, the toilet, bring up the kitchen cabinets. We'll bring up stuff from 50, 60 years ago to the table. Says, now listen, I got all of this you got to deal with. It's time to say, it's pal. That's pal. Don't bring this up any longer. That is the past, and let the past bury the past. And you stand in the present moment. That's the thief. You see, the thief of the past will always rob you of your present moment. There's some people can't even experience the beauty of the trees and the flowers right now because they're so fixated on what happened. What happened? And they're trying to prevent what happened and not happening again, to not happen again. And then we get stuck, robbed by the thief of the future. What might happen? What's going to happen? What's coming around the way? What's going to happen tomorrow? Where are you going to eat once you leave this place? Where are you going to go? What's going to happen? That's the thief that robs us of the gift of now. So the three things that I offer you. The first thing is to know the time. What time is it? What time is it? It's always now. And we got a cheat sheet for you. It's always now, regardless to what the clock says. In the morning, it's now. In the afternoon, it's now. In the evening, it's always now. And as Paul Tillich says, all of eternity converges in this now moment. Think about that. Everything that you hope for, desire to, or aspire to be, it converges in this now moment. And the moment we open up to it, we'll see the glory of it. We hear these words from Romans. It says, and do this knowing the time, that now is the time, high time to wake up. For now is our salvation is nearer than when we first believe. So know what time it is. It's always now. It's never too late to start. Now is the moment. The second thing I offer you is to prepare, build an expectancy for the now. Get in the habit of anticipating the now. What good do you desire? Why you got to put it in the future? There are some still waiting on the pie in the sky when we got all of this bounty of blessings here right now. But we project the good at some time in the future. That's separation. Embrace it now. Start building an expectancy for it. We hear these words from the master teacher. If you abide in me and my words abide in you, you shall ask whatever you wish, and it will be given to you now. How many of you believe that? If you abide in me, in the consciousness of our oneness, and I abide in you, whatever you ask or wish, it will be given to you now. Now. And we can get off the dock of the bay, like, is it Otis Redding? Some of you know, still sitting on the dock of the bay, still waiting on your good to come. Been sitting there 10, 15, 20 years. Raise your hand if you're good, if you've worked the power of now. Yeah, I know you have, Robin. You got your good now. Like the lady who she would go to church. You can play that. Keep playing. She was waiting on her mate to come along. And every Sunday she would go to church and she'll find herself sitting up front on the front pew. And she had an empty seat beside her. Every Sunday the ushers would come and say, ma'am, we have somebody. Can we put them in the seat? She said, oh no, somebody's sitting here. And all during the service, the seat remained empty. The next Sunday, the lady shows up and she says, well, she kept that seat empty. And the ushers would come and says, ma'am, we're overflowing. We got to put somebody here. She says, no, somebody's sitting here. My husband is sitting here. But everybody knew her and knew that she wasn't married. And the usher says, well, you know you're not married. She said, but in my mind I am. I'm ready for it. And I'm off the dock of the bay. I'm sitting in the cruise line. And I see my husband. And don't you know by the end of the year, her husband showed up. She got married and still happily married. Get off the dock of the bay. Is it Otis Redding who said it? Sitting in the morning sun. I'll be sitting when the evening comes. Watching the ships roll in and I'll watch them roll away again. Sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the tides roll away. Sitting there wasting your time, waiting for it to come in, and God's already given it to you right now. And all you got to do is get up and get it. Left my home in Georgia, and I headed for the Frisco Bay. I've got much to live for. Everything is coming my way. I changed the words. I'm sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Sitting on the... Now listen, it's time to get off the dock. It's time to get off the dock. Thank you. Get in your cruise line, get in your yacht, your boat, and your on your what is that, surfboard. Get on your what's the stand-up paddleboard. Get up off the dock and get in the game and start playing life now. But the goodness is now. God says, my name is I am, not I will be or I was. You stand in your true identity. Your spiritual identity is I am. When you use your I am nature, you are referencing the all power of the universe, and that is the power of God. You can get out of I will be or I used to be and say, I am healed right now. I'm whole right now. I am prospered right now. I am loved right now. I am it right now. Which reminds me of the lady who was crying to the master teacher one day because her brother had transitioned. Martha goes to the master teacher and says, well, where were you? Where were you? I needed you when I needed you. Now, some of you need it in the now moment, don't you? You need what you need right now. You don't need it tomorrow, next week. You don't even need it next year. Who is it in here? I know it's coming for somebody. You need it now. If it's a breakthrough, you need it now. If it's a healing, you need it now. If it's a way out of no way, you need it now. If it's an overcoming, who is it in here? Raise your hand or stand on your feet. Get on your feet. Get on your feet and get ready now. You see, I am a preacher first. I preach truth and then I teach it because I know the mighty preacher on the inside. She goes to the master teacher, the great I am. It says, where were you when I needed you? I didn't need you tomorrow. I don't need you next year or next month. I needed you right now, but you weren't here. And she says, now my brother has transitioned. And he says, oh, Martha, if only you would believe, you will see your brother again. And she says, well, master, I teach a rabbi. I know I'll see him in the Perusia. That's in the future. The pie in the sky mentality. The streets paved with gold and the pearly gates, wanting it all that, well, I won't take anybody's heaven from you. I just want you to anchor heaven here and now. And he says, no, if you can only believe, all things are possible because I am the resurrection. I am the life. I am the way. I am the door. I am the truth. I am it. And if you can get in tune with the I amness of it right now, whatever it is, all things become possible to you. And she says, I know that you still can. That's the potential of now. If you choose to, I know that you can. The potential of healing, the potential of wholeness, the potential of breakthrough, the potential of deliverance, the potential of prosperity is in this moment. Open your mind and begin to receive it. Stretch forth your cords and lengthen your rope, your tent, so it can come in. Get out of the make and do someday mentality and get into the I am now. It now. I'm it now. I'm it now. I'm whole now. I'm healed now. Now I'm healed. Now I'm going to be, see, if you get it in the mind, the behind will catch up with it. Get it in your mind. That's the first creation. I'm made away now. I'm overcome now. And you'll see how the power of now will work for you. This is the truth. This is what unity stands for and stands on. This is what healed Myrtle Fillmore. This is what lengthened Charles Fillmore's leg. This is what healed Dr. Johnny Coleman when she was told she only had 6 months to live. This is what healed all of the other greats. And if God, if the power of now worked for them, by God, it will work for you too. Work it. Work it. Work it.